evening, mi gente. Welcome to Queer News Tonight. This is the world's first and only LGBTQ plus daily evening television news, broadcasting live and available on demand. Available on all smart televisions, including Roku, Apple TV, Android TV, Amazon Fire TV, YouTube, and Facebook. It's time to queer up the news. It's Wednesday, August 9th, 2023. We are live and literally out of the closet and into the headlines. So many of your important stories we're going to tell this evening on Queer News Tonight.
This is the world's first live daily LGBTQ evening news show, literally out of the closet and into the headlines on Queer News Tonight with Al Ferguson.
I'm your anchor at Queer News Tonight, Fay What? This evening, we bring you the news of and perspective representing the LGBTQ plus community from South Florida, America, and across our planet.
This is the world's first and only unedited live LGBTQ plus evening news show. Whatever happens unique in LGBTQ plus news, you will see and hear it.
Hotspots Magazine, Happening Out Television Network, is a nonprofit 501c3 media company in the same models of PBS and NPR, but designed for the LGBTQ plus community. Our mission? Support the 10 pillars of our LGBTQ plus community. We want to inform and educate the key issues of our Black community, Latino, lesbian and queer women, trans, student youth, seniors, HIV/AIDS healthcare, business, social justice, and faith. Help us support our community.
We are part of one of the largest LGBTQ plus media companies in America, Hotspots Magazine and Happening Out Television Network. Our magazine is celebrating 38 years of the LGBTQ plus experience, and our television, news, talk, and entertainment shows support our mission to educate the LGBTQ plus and broader community.
So let's get started by introducing to you some of my favorite people. Let's welcome Elimination. He's a pansexual member of the kink and fetish community, an educator and community leader. He was the founding president of Onyx Deep South and also represented our community at International Mr. Leather as Mr. Ramrod. Besides his charitable work, he campaigns for self-acceptance with his I Am Enough initiative. Welcome home, Elimination.
Gay Agenda, South Florida. Hotspots Happening Out Artist Reception, August 20th. Hotspots Happening Out Artist Reception, organized by Hotspots Events, will be held on August 20th at Hotspots Happening Out Art Gallery with Dennis Dean. The reception will start at 6 p.m. Hotspots Events host an array of social and cultural events that appeal to the LGBTQ plus community throughout the greater Fort Lauderdale area. Their events range from monthly recurring engagements to our annual affairs and pride celebrations. At the Happening Out Art Gallery with Dennis, you will experience a revolving display of artwork and talent each month. This reception is the closing celebration, featuring special performances and meet and greets with the artists who have been featured this month during the Caribbean Artists Exhibit. More information can be found at hotspotsmagazine.com.
Next up, let's welcome John Hayden, my brother from another mother. He's a journalist for 28 years. He now works for several outlets, including Out South Florida, as senior reporter and community editor. Welcome back, John. How are you, buddy?
In the Gay Agenda, South Florida, SunServe's Youth Back to School Carnival, August 18th. SunServe is presenting the Back to School Carnival, August 18th at 4 p.m. here at Sunshine Cathedral and SunServe Youth. The event promotes understanding, acceptance, and awareness while offering a range of engaging activities, delicious food, and fun amusement rides. Free backpacks and supplies will be distributed during the event. SunServe therapists and life coaches will also be available during the carnival. SunServe is a nonprofit organization offering life assistance, mental health care, education, and training for the LGBTQ plus community. AIDS Healthcare Foundation, Hoff's House of Sweets, Papa John's Pizza, Sunshine Cathedral, and Sylvester Comprehensive Cancer Center are sponsoring the event. It's fun and open to all. For further information, you can visit sunserve.org.
Let's welcome anchor Ryan Hurst. Ryan is the Senior Major Gifts and Events Officer for the National LGBTQ Task Force. I've already gotten my dress. He has worked in social justice for over 10 years with organizations like Lambda Legal Defense and Education Fund and People for the American Way Foundation. Welcome, Ryan.
In the gay agenda, South Florida, Miami Improv presents Bad Bitch Brunch August 20th. Miami Improv Comedy Theater is hosting the Bad Bitch Brunch, which will be presented by Brittany Braves on August 20th. The event will start at 3 p.m. There is no better way to send off a hot girl summer than this one. Miami Improv Comedy Theater in Doral is a vibrant, captivating venue that offers comedy shows and live performances. The event will bring comedians like Eli Rodriguez, Connie Fernandez, Tarek Turjman, Jamie Lee Simmons, Emily Wade from Two Girls, One Blunt Pod, and a special musical performance by Soleil. The brunch will also feature Bad Bitch Bingo. The event starts at 2 p.m. and tickets will cost you just $20. Don't miss this chance to laugh out loud with your friends and loved ones. Tickets and more information are available at miamiimprov.com.
We are the reporters for Queer News Tonight, and this evening we begin with the queer headlines. The LGBTQ plus community in South Florida and across America is diverse. Our community across the world is vast, and here are the bullet points of the queer news for today, Wednesday, August 9th. Let's begin by queering up education. DeSantis Board of Education begins erasure of trans identities in school. On Monday, the Deputy General Counsel of Florida's Orange County Public School System sent an email to principals announcing new policies for the upcoming academic year. The email announced that the school district, which encompasses Orlando and serves more than 200,000 students, would be required to target transgender teachers, staff, and students for discriminatory treatment. Transgender teachers may no longer use their preferred pronouns or titles in class. They must instead use the pronoun and title that corresponds to their biological sex as assigned at birth. Transgender teachers, staff, and students may no longer use the bathroom that aligns with their gender identity at school. Transgender visitors, including parents, guardians, and students from other districts or states, will face criminal prosecution if they use the bathroom that fits their gender identity on school premises. The guidance arrives amid a severe teacher shortage in the school district, with hundreds of vacancies left unfilled. It flows directly from two laws, HB 1069 and HB 1521, passed by Florida's Republican-controlled legislature and signed by GOP Governor Ron DeSantis, that mandate discrimination against transgender people throughout the state. Taken together, this slate of legislation appears designed to drive transgender teachers and staff of the state's public school system altogether, subjecting them to constant threat of discipline for simply existing as a trans person. You know, this story is just disgusting, okay, from beginning to end. I can't even imagine being a trans teacher or a trans student or anything, you know. We've got a school teacher shortage right now in Florida, okay? Like, it's really bad. And they're going to get their way, basically. That's what makes me even sadder. Like, okay, I'm telling teachers, like, yeah, it's not worth it. You're not making a lot of money. Go find another career, right? But that's exactly what they want us to do. They literally want us to not exist anymore and not be no more LGBTQ plus teachers then, basically, in public schools. That's what they want, and that's what's going to happen.
Yeah, well, you know, we said that the school district services 200,000 kids. Now it is a disservice to 200,000 kids. And it's not just Orange County. They are the ones that put the memo out. This is all the districts across the state. You know, we've got more than 200,000 here in Broward County, students here in Broward County. And they're all being hurt by this. And the fact is, the governor and his fascist enablers they don't care. They've dropped any pretense of trying to pretend like they care about everyone or that this is just about the kids. No, this is about their politics. And that's exactly all you can say that it is. And what they want is for trans teachers, LGBTQ plus teachers, and their allies to just leave. Quit their job, leave the state is optimal, because then they can put them in with under or completely unqualified substitute teachers, or it wasn't a year or two ago where any veteran could be taught. And God bless our veterans.
Yes.
I'm not putting them down, but they're not necessarily trained to be teachers, and that's okay. But we shouldn't put them in charge. But they're going to put right-wing, unqualified people into these teacher slots. That's what they want. That's what they're doing at New College. We reported on that. They've got like 25% of their staff positions open, or teaching positions open. UF, I believe, is also facing huge deficits, and I would guess that it would be the same at other schools throughout Florida.
I'm super curious as to what you're thinking about this elimination, because you were an educator
Yes.
for a bunch of years. Please tell me what you think.
So the interesting thing is, Fay, you kind of alluded to, so let's start with teaching is a calling. You have to be called to teach. You have to understand when you walk into a classroom, that you have to maintain a certification year after year after year. What other profession do we know have to fight for your right to keep your job first and foremost? You have to develop through so many professional development. So teachers want to be there. And so if you're called to teach, which this is what this governor is doing to many teachers who really care, is they're ostracizing them and they're making them not even want to, because any allies, whether you identify, however you identify, you're there is to make the world a better place. And so what they're doing is they're stifling the ability of folks who want to make the world a better place. And as you all alluded to, we have to wonder why there's a teacher shortage, because no one feels comfortable going into a classroom and putting their credentials on the line by creating malpractice, because I call it education malpractice. When you're actually feeding into teaching something that's not fair, and when you're not providing a safe space to children, to your colleagues, to people who just in the building alone, you're not living up to the certification that you made promise when you went to school. We all went to school to be a teacher. You know, some of us fell into it and realized the love that we have for it. And ultimately the children suffers. And so what I would encourage is every family member, every parent out there, fill out every single form, because their parents are going to have that choice. They're going to have to buckle the system. They're going to have to fill out the form that say, you have to call my child by my child's preferred name. You have to identify my child as this. You have to do this. And what we also do, family, we often need to push back on the schools. Why don't we have gender non-identifying bathrooms, period and point blank?
And that would save a lot of lives.
But it would not only save a lot of lives, but it would kind of take some of the wind out of these crazy people's, out of their air just in general. So parents, I applaud you. Please go to those schools, fill out those forms, and hold those teachers accountable, because who ultimately suffers is not only our children, but us, because these are the people who we're going to go to fix our cars, to work on us when we're sick, to cook our food, to just be there for us. And if they're not properly educated and trained, we not only do they suffer, but we suffer as a people.
Ryan, what do you think, Beba?
Well, you know, the fact is, Ron DeSantis is a true believer in the homophobic, transphobic, and racist demagoguery that he promotes all of the time. And now what Florida is seeing is what happens when demagoguery becomes public policy. We're seeing this through the implementation of Don't Say Gay and, you know, the trans policies that are being passed throughout the state. Counties have no direction. They have no idea how to implement these laws. They're receiving confusing guidance from the Department of Education. They're all operating out of fear of being sued, out of having teachers be fired. Not only that, this year our students are going to be taught that racism was not that bad. They are implementing a curriculum from PragerU, a conservative right-wing think tank that wants to influence how people perceive the world. We have two state attorney's offices in the state of Florida now that don't have duly elected representation because the radical GOP governor decided that the duly elected Democrats in those offices couldn't be in office anymore. By the way, he removed yesterday the only black elected state attorney in the state of Florida after all of this.
On what grounds? Just because he can?
Because he can. And this after all of this conversation about slavery being not that bad, being taught in schools. This wasn't an accident. This was targeted.
Of course, this was targeted. Now, you know, you used to work for Lambda Legal. How about those teachers that are like, okay, you know, all my documents all match up. Screw you. You need to call me by my preferred name. Do they have a case? Can they do anything?
So here's the double-edged sword to it is I think with the implementation of this policy, not only are you creating victims, but what you're creating is a class of people that now have standing to challenge these laws in the courts. So as horrible as this is, hopefully this is the beginning of people standing up to the government, standing up to this administration, filing lawsuits, and hopefully we'll get all of these laws off the books.
You know, like Elimination said, parents, all those papers that come home, read them, fill them out. Don't let it be, okay, don't worry about it. Now more than ever, your voice needs to be heard, and those school people need to know that you're not okay with this, okay? And as a parent, they need to listen to you.
The wonderful thing about all of this is we often talk about it, Faye, is that we have to really realize that each of us are part of the greater good and part of each other. And they're constantly showing us, they're already removing black folks from schools. by the history. Now they're targeting at LGBTQ plus and so forth. And what they're going to continue to do is make a world in such a place that we're going back to segregation, and we're going back to a system that does not recognize those who don't fit the majority. And we have to fight together. We have to band together and says, I know what you're doing. Your calculated risk, your calculated moves, we're going to stop them at their path. And I hope that many of us do go to law, do take these steps in the court, because we have to band together and stop it at the pass. Otherwise, we're going to go back to 1940s. And I fear for our country, and I fear for our children.
Oh my God. John, please tell me something good.
Well, I think I will. And how will I do that? I'll do it by clearing up out South Florida.
Yes.
Nominations open for your choice awards. Best restaurant, best bartender, best nonprofit, all good questions. And they're all your choice. Nominations are now open for the first Out South Florida Your Choice Awards presented by Greco Ford. This is a chance to recognize the people and organizations that make South Florida's LGBTQ plus community so amazing. Voting is done by county, so you can choose your favorite restaurant, one in Broward, one in Palm Beach, one in Miami-Dade, and one in the Keys. You can go to outsouthflorida.com, outsfl.com, click on the nomination story and follow the instructions. You can nominate once per county per day, and it takes about 5 minutes per county. And you spend that much time at work looking on Amazon for scented candles, so come on. There's one category I find especially exciting. Favorite local TV personality. Everyone needs to go and nominate Fay What. She won a similar vote last year, very deservedly so. The competition has gotten better, but so has Fay. She's outstanding. So go to Out South Florida right now. Make your nominations.
I love this kind of stuff. Okay. I love when we're able to give flowers to certain organizations, to certain people, to all of that. Yeah, of course. Vote for me. Yeah. I want to win an award. Hell to the yeah. I would be so humbled and so happy about it. But the rest of the folks, you know, there's so many, like Jason over at Hunters does the best Shirley Temple ever. You know, like I would nominate him. You know, Bona's one of my favorite Italian places. We got to put Bona in there. You know, Wilton Creamery. Like there's just so many awesome places that we go to that like deserve this spotlight.
And so, to your point, it's especially since after COVID, a lot of these kind of voice voting type things have disappeared for whether it be money reasons or whatever. And so it's often good for those who are just even nominated just to know that someone is paying attention. You know, I'm the Susan Lucci of all this kind of stuff. I was nominated for a Pantheon of Leather once. I was the president of Onyx South when we got nominated for one of these local Club of the Year type things. Although we didn't win, but it's nothing better than waking up and having someone say, hey, you were nominated for something and you had no idea you were in the running. So family out there, if you know someone who you believe in, you know, this round table, yeah, we all want our sibling to win. But if you see someone who joins and touches your soul, nominate them. I mean, the best thing ever is to know that you're being seen, that you're being heard, that you're being felt. Because what that does is that gives us power, that gives us passion, that gives us the voice to continue. Because trust, Fay acts like she's not tired, but let me tell you, that voice, you know, but at the end of the day, family, you know, that's and encourages Hunters to be as good as Hunters is. It's happening out to be as great as we are because we have folks who watch us and nominate us.
Fay, you're absolutely right. It's so important for us to give people flowers, especially people who serve our community. You know, I think a lot of us, I know I do sometimes, take for granted the incredible nonprofit organizations, the businesses that are open to us, that serve us, that make us feel welcome and safe when we enter them. There are so many people in the country right now, so many people throughout the state of Florida who feel the attacks that are coming down and don't have that safe community space to go to. So it's so important that we give flowers to the people who work hard to serve us and build community.
Yes, sir. You're up, Ryan.
Well, next up, let's queer up the courts. Trump-appointed judge requires Southwest Airlines to undergo training from right-wing hate group. A Trump-appointed Texas judge has ordered 3 senior Southwest Airlines lawyers to take 8 hours of, quote, religious liberty training, end quote, from the far-right hate group Alliance Defending Freedom. In his late Monday ruling, U.S. District Judge Brantley Starr specifically mandated that lawyers take the training as part of court-ordered sanctions for religious discrimination. He described ADF as one of several, quote, esteemed nonprofit organizations that are dedicated to preserving free speech and religious freedom, end quote. The Southern Poverty Law Center has designated ADF as an extremist hate group. The mandated hate group training is the latest phase of a lawsuit brought by flight attendant Charlene Carter, who sued Southwest for firing her in 2017 after she sent confrontational, anti-abortion messages to her union's former president. Carter argued she had been discriminated against based on her religious beliefs, and U.S. District Judge Brantley Starr sided with her in December, ordering she be reinstated. Starr, who was appointed by Donald Trump in 2019, also ordered Southwest to issue a statement telling its employees that the airline may not engage in religious discrimination against them. Carter had made no request for Southwest to undergo religious liberty training. ADF is not representing Carter, nor is it otherwise related to the case at all. So it's unclear why Starr felt the need to involve the group. This is absolutely ridiculous. And also, I hate to put the question out there, but what happened to small government conservatism? I mean, this is absolutely ridiculous. First of all, it should be noted that Southwest is appealing both the initial decision and the sanction. But the premise of the case is not that she was fired for speaking her mind or expressing her religious beliefs. She was fired because she harassed one of her coworkers. Mm-hmm. And that's a really big difference. Mm-hmm. There's a difference between speech and taking action. And I think it's one that former President Donald Trump is about to learn in the D.C. District courts, that there's a very big difference between expressing yourself, your political beliefs, your religious beliefs, and taking action that is inappropriate. And harassing a coworker is inappropriate.
But she was harassing him for Jesus. So it's okay in that case.
She was harassing her for attending a 2017 March on Washington.
Against him.
Against Donald Trump.
Yeah.
So, but what this really is, and this is one of those times I think when they're Alliance Defending Freedom, they're horrible, terrible group, but I kind of feel bad for them because they weren't associated with this at all, and then all of a sudden they wake up and go, wait,
what did we do?
We're involved in this? So I sort of feel bad for them, but I think this is like a Trump judge sticking it to the libs, as those ilk like to say. Yeah. This is what it is. They've made us go to sensitivity training for 30 years, so now we're going to make them bend to our religious pretzel list. It's BS.
It's so crazy that, Southwest has a duty to protect its employees first and foremost. Mm-hmm. And that's what Southwest was doing. Hard stop, as Al likes to say. Stop. Why are you not missing the big picture that no one should be forced to hear your personal views at work, yelling it, making it a hostile environment. And that's exactly what Carter was doing. But what I find it so crazy is this is the best way of hypocrisy that I've ever heard. So those folks, and I use the quotation in folks, that they don't want you to hear the realism. They don't want you to hear the real objective stuff. So remove all of that. However, you got to listen to what I say, my beliefs and my journey, and take it for what it is. And I'm tired of having them play teeter-totter. Stop. This be fair. And do you even hear the words that are coming out of your mouth with that movie? It's like stop and pause. And so I think that's why the craziness of it all is none of this makes sense. And although, that group is waking up why am I brought in? Group, why are you even in existence? Just go away and mind your, just go away and just fade to the background.
Listen, Karen. Because that's basically what you are, right? You're like a Southwest Karen. That's what you are. Like you said, you can't make your work environment hostile like that. You don't bring religion. You don't bring those you can't even talk politics at work anymore, and it's for this reason. Now, you went above and beyond to be hostile by sending the emails like Ryan said. And then, Black and brown folk, we know, never leave a paper trail. What's wrong with you? Okay, if you're going to harass somebody, you do it to their face.
Receipts. We're keeping all the receipts. We're going to keep it just in case. Absolutely.
We'll be watching this story for sure. Elimination Europe, my friend.
Yes, absolutely. So next, let's queer up gay culture. Comedy legend Wayne Brady comes out as pansexual. In a recent interview, Wayne Brady, the host of Let's Make a Deal, shared that after much soul searching, he has come to identify most closely with the term pansexual. He said, and I quote, "I couldn't say if I was bisexual because I had to really see what there was, especially because I really have not gotten a chance to act on anything. So I came to pansexual," end quote. Brady said that he started on this journey to live more authentically after Robin Williams' death. which made him confront his own self-knowledge or lack thereof. He said that post Robin's death, he got involved in certain groups, like Glenn Close's group, Bring Change to Mind. This public announcement is the first step, and Brady asserted that he's not looking to couple up anytime soon. He said, and I quote, "I am single, but it's not about being with someone right now. I've got some work to do still." Then, Wayne, as a single, open-minded pansexual, can make a decision and be free and open to other people, end quote. Welcome to the community, Wayne Brady. So I love everything about this, as you know, as the proud, loud pansexual. I love that he actually took the time and the terms to do his own education and realizing that he wasn't just bisexual, because often people go straight to bisexuality and say, this is who I am. But he realized, go dig a little bit deeper and find out that he identifies pansexual. And because a lot of times people get confused with bisexuality and pansexuality first
What's
and
the
foremost.
difference? Tell our viewers what the difference is.
In my opinion, it's about the sex acts and the body parts. So in bisexuality, you're looking at body parts of one gender versus another gender. When in pansexuality, it's all about the whole person, your totality, the mind, body, soul, beyond that, everything about them. Are you attracted to their ins and outs, their looks and beings? And so for me, what I'm seeing him saying through the research that I was able to do and listen to really his words is that he's now identifying who is that human that makes me feel good? Who is that person that says, I am enough? Elimination, hashtag I am enough. But who is that person that makes me feel whole? And that's who I want to be with. That's who I want to pursue. And I don't want the limit. So if on Monday you see me taking Fay out for some Wilton Creamery, and on Wednesday you see me taking John out to Hunters and smacking that pum pum, then it's okay because I am enjoying everything about my life and finding out who and what makes me feel good.
I don't get ice cream or
So you're my Saturday 2 a.m. day. I can't tell you.
Awesome. Thank you.
Wow,
Thank
you are
for
you're the last call bitch.
Ryan,
I'm the last.
He gets to go home with
Ryan is the
elimination.
one that we wake up in the morning and Ryan makes me breakfast.
Nice.
Oh,
See,
yeah.
this-
See, I
didn't want to say that on news because Faye told me to behave on this show, on this segment, because pansexuality is the best thing ever to be able to discuss. But since y'all brought it out of me, yes, we're going to do eggs and bacon.
Well, I want to say that I love Wayne Brady. I think he is awesome. I will make a deal with him anytime. If he can guess what's in my pocket, he can have the prize. He can have the prize behind door number 2.
Oh my God. Boys, do you think that because Wayne Brady is black, he waited so long to come out as pansexual? Because when I think of Wayne Brady, no offense, right? He does very white shows.
Absolutely.
Okay. And I'm saying that very strategically, and I don't want to hurt anybody's feelings. Okay.
True.
But he's loved by the white masses. He really is, and but he always had that extra pizzazz. So you always were like, I wonder if he's family. I can't really tell if he's family, and then that perfect gay smile.
Yeah. It was, yeah, you're right. It was always like, is he gay? Or is he on coke right before he tapes Let's Make a Deal? Because let's face it, that is some high energy television right there. And it could be because he was black, but just my cynical side from Hollywood, having worked in entertainment news, is that when you're a rising star like that and you have a Facebook, or a following, a social media following, you kind of, for lack of a better term, play it straight, and just sort of go with the flow and let the checks keep coming in.
Try to blend in kind of deal.
I just appreciate that he's on a journey of self-actualization.
Yeah.
So many of us, such a barrier for happiness is just us knowing ourselves. It is a blessing if you ever come to the point in your life that you know yourself. And I think that's where we find him right now, where we find him in a good place right now, is that he's come to that point where he's asked the hard questions of himself. He's done the research, he's explored, and now he's in a good place. And congratulations to Wayne Brady for that. I'm glad that he's happy with it. I hope that, that his coming out is also making him happy, but also just want to throw out there that he didn't have to come out. No one, you don't owe coming out to anyone. It is a personal decision, and I'm just really happy for him.
Faye, I'm going to tell you absolutely, he played it safe throughout his entire career. He is an awesome entertainer. He kills me on Whose Line Is It Anyway, like the best. But in order for him to be successful, he had to play it a certain way. Just by upbringing alone, as being a black person in society today, or even, we're about the same age group, you have to survive. And so you never give someone a way to put you down, make you feel less than, or stifle your growth. And so I believe he had to succeed and get to a place in his career where he could say, you know what, screw all of them. It's time for me. And he truly says, authentically myself. Now, I do question a little bit, and this is just me being Elimination, where he says he's never tried it, because we all know at that right time of night, at 2, 3 o'clock in the morning with the right beverage.
Ryan time. Also known as Ryan time.
So, so I do kind of wonder about that. But he did admit that he's often had crushes. Which is, I think, is a human thing to do. Every human at some point in your life sees a certain person, and it doesn't have to be, gay or not gay. That person looks attractive. You look good on you. I like how you entertain. I like how you move. And so I think he just couldn't be that himself because for fear of getting that job, for fear of being that host. But now the world is changing. We're now more embracing. And the more people like Wayne that comes out and says, you know what, this is who I am. I do exist. Look at my body and work. Look at the kind of human I am. Guess what? There's about 30 other people at home, just in one neighborhood alone, that's just like me.
Yeah.
And that just is amazing. So you have to welcome them to the table.
I love it. I love it. Next, let's queer up the worldview. Iraq requires media companies to use term sexual deviance instead of homosexuality. Iraq's official media regulator ordered all media and social media companies operating in the Arab state not to use the term homosexuality and instead to say sexual deviance. The Iraqi Communications and Media Commission, CMC, said in a statement that the use of the term gender was also banned. It prohibited all phone and internet companies licensed by it from using the term in any of their mobile applications. A government spokesperson said a penalty for violating the rule had not yet been set, but could include a fine. Iraq does not explicitly criminalize gay sex, but loosely defined morality clauses in its penal code have been used to target members of the LGBTQ+ community. Major Iraqi parties have in the past 2 months stepped up criticism of LGBTQ+ rights, with rainbow flags frequently being burned in protests by Shiite Muslim factions opposed to the recent Quran burnings in Sweden and Denmark. More than 60 countries criminalize gay sex, while same-sex sexual acts are legal in more than 130 countries. Anti-LGBTQ+ rhetoric is prevalent in Iraq, with the head of the nationalist Cedrus movement, Muqtada al-Sadr, repeatedly making dangerous remarks about the queer community. He once tweeted that gay people were to blame for the pandemic and Mpox, which he referred to as gaypox. You know whose fault this is? This is Trump's fault, okay? At the end of the day, this is Trump's fault. And I know it sounds crazy that something like that will get all the way to Iraq, who have for many years marginalized many people and have treated women like second-class citizens, and I can go on and on and on, right? But Trump opened that door for other leaders to be hate, to just have hate, to spew hate, and to allow that. And now this has come all the way to this. Now, as a journalist, John, what do you think about this?
Well, I think it shows that they're using media and they're using language. Read your Orwell. They're narrowing the language, how you can discuss it, and making it be phrased so that you can. The way they require you to phrase it pre-presumes how you will feel.
Yeah.
There is no way to say positive way. There's no way to say gay. There's no way to say not even deviance. Deviance. Yeah. It's frightening as a journalist because the people who are going to use this, sure, there are going to be people on social media, but it's going to crack down on the journalists, the people who disseminate the information. They're the ones who are going to say it and be prosecuted, or not say it and allow ignorance and hate to spread, which goes against everything every journalist, true journalist everywhere stands for. So,
the great thing about all this, and I love what you said as the journalist side, but that's as the educator side, words matter. Deviant. The moment that you are allowed to utilize the word deviant, nothing positive is of deviant. And so when you utilize a class of people, or you want to utilize that you are deviant, you are negative, you are less than, you are not
You're
a part
saying bad. You're basically saying bad.
You're just basically bad. And then also that they don't define what gay sex is in laws. However, they know what it is. They know if you break the law, what you did. So again, I'm not going to say what it is, but however, if you do sex and same gender sex, I'm sure they have it a little bit more illustrated, worded, you're going to jail. So it's, again, the hypocrisy of you can't do it, I'm not going to define it, but you know when you're wrong because you get to go to jail. The craziness, and I do agree with you that Trump, by these so many hate crimes of hate speeches that leaders provide, other folks are watching.
Yeah.
And if you can get away with it there, guess what? I can do it here, because where else are you going to run? You know, you think about it, this country was built on people who migrated from one place to the next. And so we were supposed to be the safe haven. Well, if the safe haven is the new home of hate, where can anyone go?
I'm going to Iraq.
You know, it strikes me there's not a lot of sunshine between this Iraq legislation and legislation in Florida that we were discussing earlier, criminalizing transgender people using restrooms in schools. We're not that far down the road. So the United States really needs to make a decision on where we want to find fellowship around the globe and internationally. Do we want to find fellowship with nations that advance and protect democracy and personal freedoms? Or do we want to find fellowship with authoritarians and nations that promote government censorship and dictate what you can say, what you can do, how you can think? It's a real question we have to answer as a nation.
Yeah. Elimination?
Next, we are proud of our special partnership with Sunshine Cathedral, the world's largest queer church here in Fort Lauderdale. Supporting that partnership, we are broadcasting from our permanent set here at Sunshine Cathedral at the Happening Out Television Studios. We broadcast Sunshine Cathedral Sunday International Service at 10:30 a.m.
That is today's news for the LGBTQ plus community on the world's first and only daily LGBTQ plus evening news show. If our community is important to you, share this news with your family and friends. Are you, like most of America, part of our very large television audience watching this live LGBTQ plus news broadcast right now on Roku, Apple TV, Android TV, and Amazon Fire TV?
Queer News Tonight is the only live LGBTQ plus digital television show in the world that is out of the closet and into the headlines. We need your support. If our community is to grow, we must tell our stories and bring them to the attention of the broader world.
This is the only place in the world that tells these types of LGBTQ plus stories in motion and sound. That is the passion of Hotspots Magazine, Happening Out Television Network, and Queer News Tonight.
I'm your anchor, Fay What, filling in for Al Ferguson. And on behalf of these LGBTQ plus reporters, the anchors of Queer News Tonight, including John Hayden, Elimination, and Ryan Hurst, we will see you daily at 8 p.m. To our LGBTQ plus world, we wish you good night.
Good night, everyone.
We are Queer News Tonight, the world's first and only live daily LGBTQ plus evening news show, brought to you from Happening Out Television Network. We operate in the same model of PBS and NPR, but for the LGBTQ plus community. We educate, inform, and entertain by supporting the 10 pillars of our LGBTQ plus community, with more than 100,000 a week watching us on Roku,
Apple Television, and other channels. To keep the story going, we accept donations with 100% transparency. Stay updated and live authentically with Queer News Tonight.